see a fine group of leaders who have overcome life challenges to receive their Masters of Science in Human Service Administration. I often wonder what it would be like today, how it would feel to receive such a degree. To tell you the truth, I really do feel liberated. Why? Because we are now free to make choices that lead to positive change. Before I continue, I want to take time to thank each of you. The fact that you are here deserves a round of thanks. To the faculty, thank you. You all shared your knowledge and nonprofit experiences with us that are second to none. The fact that you laid a curriculum before us and a theory that is so useful, the practical knowledge, I pray that we all will continue those in our current jobs and our prospective jobs. To our family and friends, thank you for giving us the support to continue. I recall many times my mother said, "You can do it," or "I'm so proud of you." When Nisha Walford Young of the August '04 cohort introduced me to one of her sisters, she referred to her as a sister that read her papers. My friends and co-workers were supportive as well. Everyone knew my rote answer when anything came up as far as a social activity. I have a paper to write. I know I sounded like a broken record, but it was true. I had a paper or two to write, and you all can attest to that. But I also want to thank the fellow graduates and students for the added support and encouragement. Thanks to all the members of the October 2004 cohort, of which I was a part. There were many times when we held each other's arms up for support. I also had the privilege to join the August 2004 cohort for 3 classes that were in addition to the curriculum. This cohort was something else. You know why I say that? Because they used to eat. They believed in breaking bread. I mean, it was where we had food for days. We ate all the time. But I do recall a special time, one time, and I wanted to share it with you all. This was when Vera Thompson's sister brought food to our class because it was Vera's turn to bring food. Now, at first we were like, oh, that's nice. But come to find out, Vera had been in the hospital, and she wanted to make sure that we were taken care of. So her sister brought food to us. That food was special that night. I just wanted to also thank, when we were close to the end, Norma Brandon sent me an email when she turned in her last assignment and encouraged me to do what we had to do to get to June 11th. And we're here. Norma, thank you. Her message, plus divine faith, inspired me to finish. Like these examples, there are a myriad of stories I could tell. However, I want to share some thoughts going forward. Each of us began a journey when we chose to attend Spurs. Whether it was that we wanted to advance our career, just know more, or just go back to school. But like any journey, there were obstacles along the way. Life happens. Some of us experienced physical challenges requiring hospitalization, death of loved ones, and the challenges that come with getting older. Some of us also started new jobs that required more time and energy. One thing is for certain, each of us faced challenges as we balance work and family and or school. Whatever our circumstances, we finish, and that's what matters. My primary reason for choosing Spurs was to gain a better understanding of the nonprofit sector. That was the extent of my expectation. Little did I know that I would take away a deeper awareness of myself and my fellow human beings, as well as importance of nonprofits that they play in our society. Spurs afforded me the opportunity to not only learn and excel in academics, it taught me the importance of teamwork and camaraderie. This is the true meaning of cohort, as what we all have experienced. When one part is weak, another is strong. Some consider the nonprofit sector as the road less traveled because of the great amount of dedication required with minimal compensation. While compensation is a great motivator, I can tell you, making a positive difference through your nonprofit organization is invaluable. You can provide more than a service. You can change your life. That's the difference. I learned that one must first identify the fears that stifle growth in order to recognize wisdom. Spurs provided each of us a means to expand our thinking and development. This degree is more than an accomplishment. It is an expression of personal growth. It represents a freedom that allows each of us to pursue our dreams. Through the broadening of our minds, we can inspire others to grow and change. I want to leave you with this quote by Marianne Williamson, who said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." She continues, "As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." Whatever direction you choose to pursue, be it in the nonprofit sector or the academic world, know this: you hold the power to enlighten and liberate those you encounter each and every day. Thank you.
See why I'm so proud? Wasn't that wonderful? After that, I'm going back to school. That's Berta's, of course. Judge Katz is currently an associate judge of the Cook County Circuit Court and has worked for social justice and child welfare during her entire career. She has served as Assistant General Counsel of the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, SSI Advocacy Project Director for the Legal Assistance Foundation of Chicago, and Assistant Ethics Counsel for the Center for Professional Responsibility of the American Bar Association. Judge Katz has served Chicago and the state in numerous other leadership positions, as in a range of officerships of Chicago, Illinois, American, and the Women's Bar Associations. And she's received numerous honors and awards. On behalf of the faculty and of all of our graduates, it is my great pleasure to welcome Judge Katz, His Grace.
You to be able to see me, I think. First of all, where's Ms. Collins? Let's give her another round of applause. So I have a few words for you, what she said. Dr. Sulkin, faculty, staff, friends, other honored guests, and especially graduates, I'm so honored and delighted to be with you today. I have a confession to make, though. I guess it's not exactly confidential. When Dr. Crawford called me, and that's how I got here, she asked, and asked if I would speak at your graduation ceremony, I was frankly petrified. What would I say to all of you? And it kind of made me feel old to be asked. I've always kind of thought of the task of commencement speaker that it fell to some old war horse, someone who looked like Barbara Bush, someone that lived long enough to gain some wisdom to impart. And this request, along with my new membership in the AARP, has given me some. But I must be getting old, because the older I get, the less sure I get about anything I've learned or what I've been taught. I do know one thing, though. Commencement is a time to celebrate your accomplishments. You have worked so hard to get here today. I know that you have sacrificed your free time, your money, your time with others, and even your sleep. You have asked your family and your friends, all of whom are here today, and your colleagues to step up and help you and to take on new responsibilities. And you all deserve a hearty congratulations. So I'd like to hear it for all of you, because you have not done this alone. I salute you and all of your family and your friends. So I'd like you now to give yourselves a big round of applause. But commencement is a time not just to celebrate, but to reflect on where you've come from and what lies ahead. So in preparation for this speech, I have thought about my own 20, 25 or so years of public service and what lessons I've learned. And I've boiled these down to 5. That's what we lawyers do. We categorize and we rename things that you already know. And if it's in Latin, so much the better. I'm going to avoid Latin today, though, and call my 5 lessons the 4 C's and 1 Z. I'm sure you've all been memorizing in the last 2 years, so alliteration works. So here's the first lesson. Follow your calling. A line of poetry from one of my favorite poets, Mary Oliver, comes to mind. And she asks, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Obviously, you are here because you have a calling to work for the public good. And something, whether you call it God, Allah, the Creator, the Spirit within, your social consciousness, or a political analysis, has sent you to work in the area of human services. Now, some of us have had an easy time with our calling. We've discerned our calling like a clarion call, and with apologies to Robert Frost, I think it's the second time he's been called on today. We've had a straight and wide path through the forest, a clear path with clear destinations and resting spots in sight. Others of us have had a more circuitous course with twists and turns, side roads and detours. For some of us, it's been hard to discern any trail at all. We've been dropped into the forest, and we've had to cut our way through the vegetation. Yet whatever your path to this calling, whether you picked it or it picked you, you are here, and I welcome you to this calling of service and advocacy. The second C stands for commitment. There is no doubt that the work that you do takes commitment. To quote our nation's president, and I have to stop and say I never thought I'd quote him, it's hard work. Whether you're running a shelter for the homeless, a community economic development program, working with abused or neglected children, or adult victims of domestic violence, whether you're providing treatment for substance abusers, this is not easy work. It's sometimes easy to get discouraged over time and to get burnt out. There's only one way to avoid discouragement and burnout, and that's commitment. Commitment to the principles of self-determination. Commitment to building an organization or an individual's strengths. Commitment to justice and equality. Commitment to combating racism. And commitment to a better distribution of the world's wealth and resources. But you cannot commit to this work if you do not care for yourself. And that means caring for your own physical and mental health, caring for your own relationships, and caring for your own families. We must have the commitment to the self-care necessary to keep us balanced if we're to do this work over the long haul. As Rabbi Hillel, the great and learned teacher, said, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? And if I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? The third C stands for courage. Don't let anyone fool you. This work takes courage. When I was first appointed judge, I was so excited. And then it sank in, I would actually have to take the bench. And I'm not a particularly prayerful person, but I prayed. And I prayed for the wisdom necessary to do my job, but also for the courage to make hard decisions, no matter what pressures might be brought to bear. Our work in human services takes different kinds of courage. It certainly takes courage to face the difficulties and sometimes the actual physical dangers of the work. But work in human services also takes another kind of courage, an inner strength and that is what I'm most concerned about. It takes courage to move an agency in a new direction, despite the concern of others that, well, we've always done it this way. We've heard that. It takes courage as a middle manager to risk bucking upper management to protect the good work of the people we supervise. It takes courage sometimes to fire someone. It takes courage to hire someone. It takes courage to cut a program when budget requires it. It takes courage to grow a program when funding sources are speculative. It takes courage to return a child to a mother, trusting her commitment to recovery is genuine. And it takes courage to tell a mother that a child will not be returned to her home. In our tough decisions, we risk losing the support of others. We risk disappointing our clients and their families. We risk others not liking us. We risk failure. We risk being fired. We risk all the time. If we do this work right, it is not for the faint of heart. It really does take courage. The last C is for compassion. One of the two best pieces of advice I got from a colleague when I took the bench was follow the law, but temper justice with compassion. What wonderful advice. We live in a world where we've seen a steady erosion of compassion for others. The signs are all around us, in the attacks on undocumented persons, in the hateful language of television and radio talk shows, in the intolerance for racial, cultural, and religious differences. And we see it not just in active hateful words and actions, but in the growing indifference to the suffering of others. As Elie Wiesel said about indifference, it is so much easier to look away from victims. It is awkward, troublesome to be involved in another person's pain and despair. Yet for the person who is indifferent, his or her neighbors are of no consequence. Indifference reduces the other to an abstraction. And so I implore you, stay open to the suffering of others. As you do your work, look your clients and your colleagues in the eye, whether you are imparting good news or bad. Make simple human contact. Temper the necessary rule following. Temper justice with compassion. Your compassion will keep you open to the world around you. It will engage you and enrage you and fuel you in the work that you do. And speaking of fuel, the Z in my 4 C's stands for zeal or zest. I said before I got 2 good pieces of advice when I took the bench. The first involved compassion. The second piece of advice was simple. Have fun. You will need both a sense of humor and a sense of compassion to do the work you do. Now, I know our work is not always fun, but there must be fun in it to keep us energized and on the path. So I say to you, maintain your sense of humor. Find the humor in what you do. Laugh and cry with your clients and your colleagues. Maintain your zest for your work and your zeal for change. Have some fun. Finally, I'd like to leave you with some thoughts about who my heroes are. I spent my entire life in public service, and I've seen the work of many people, community activists, lawyers, social service providers, both in the public sector and in government agencies. And I've hired a lot of people for a large variety of jobs. And I've asked them, who are their heroes? Many people will point to a person who won a great legal case or won an important victory for a client. Others will point to outstanding leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. or a great poet like Gwendolyn Brooks. But for me, it's really the unsung members of the human services community that move me and inspire me. The people that day in and day out get up, go to work, and serve those most in need. Not in sexy, high-profile areas, but in the basic life necessities, like obtaining a welfare check or SSI benefits, or staving off an eviction, or accessing mental health services, or getting an order of protection from a victim of domestic violence, or help someone with custody of a child. It's the people that make sure the offices that provide these services have proper supplies and staff, and that grant proposals and reports are typed and sent in on time. My heroes are you. You have sacrificed a certain amount of financial achievement to do the work that you believe in.
excellent. That sounded beautiful. So, talk
My
to me.
sister is.
So what happened today? What happened today?
She just got her Master of Science, and she is marvelous. She's always been marvelous, but now she's that much more.
Yeah.
Go.
Starts with, marvelous starts with, master's degree.
Victoria starts with V. And valorous. And yeah, there she is, right there.
Science and Human Services.
Hello, darling.
Lord, where did she go? I don't know where she is. Maybe she just don't want her presence in. So,
what do you have to say for yourself, Mrs. Master of Science?
Well,
Olivia, please get out the shot. Please, get out the shot.
like Olivia. And I know Valerie. It's been I wish I could say it's been an easy couple years, but
It's okay.
it really has. And as Richard knows, there were a lot of times when I really thought
Watch out.
I wasn't going to get to this point. But
Here, come here, Maya. You hogging this stuff. I understand. Right.
You want the couple, okay? Couple make the baby. There we go. Come on,
but
smile. Congratulations.
I did it.
So, Vera, how did you feel being the part of somebody's speech? Here, hush, baby.
Well, Valerie gets all the credit. She won the shit.
No, you got the credit because you cared enough for your class to make sure that they had food. I hope that was on tape.
I mean, it's. I can honestly say that I love those guys.
Good, then I'm glad I took pictures of most of them because I figured you might want to see.
I was thinking Captain. Thank you. Now we look official.
Yeah, pick up all your stuff and come stand by your mommy.
I can get all your here. My task on the other side. You ready? I think you did. Oh, yes. Thank you, babe. Yes, this is official. Richard, come on in. Bring the baby. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Oh, yes. Lord, yes,
Olivia, you got the way.
Here.
Yeah, I got it.
Valerie, you get in there too.
Hold on.
Valerie,
Do not move. Do not move it. Go up just a little bit. Go up just a little bit. Up, 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 up.
Wait, Mom.
Leave it right there. Do not move it. Don't move it.
I got plenty of film.
Don't move it, Olivia. You better smile.
All right, I gotta get in there too now.
Don't move it, Olivia.
Look at Olivia's camera too, y'all.
Matt, you come hold my camera. Let me get in your place.
Good job, Liz. Girl. Okay.
Okay, Matt.
Okay. Good job. Go up a little bit. There you go. There you go.
Do I have that lipstick on?
You put lipstick on. No. You gotta go up.
I can't.
You go up. Get up. Stand on the chair.
I'm on about his hip.
Everybody say bunions.
That's what's hurting me right now. Where's that? Pushman, I was in a flash, pushman. It's on. Push the red button, it went off. It turns itself off, you don't use it.
Now it's on. Now it's on.
Now it's on that. Put the lens all the way out, man. Man, push the lens out.
It's out.
No, it's not, man. Okay, now let's take some pictures. Okay, now it's out, man. Wait, look here. Look. There we go. Now you got it. Your hip. That one too. Okay. That's good. We're done. Oh, now you got it. What you say, Vera? It will not snap. It will not.
Grandma, wait, Grandma.
Olivia, don't walk away from me. Don't walk away from me. Do not walk away. How you gonna walk away from me?
Oh, no, that on me, yo.
Sandra, step up here into the space between them, please, and the light, and say something to Olivia. Now the sun going down.
I want to say that you have proven to be a big girl. You finished kindergarten, and I'm so proud of you, and I love you so much, and I always knew you could do it. And guess what? Next year is first grade, and you're going to get past that. You're going to get past second, third, eighth grade. I'm serious. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy that you did it. You are beautiful, and you're so smart, and I knew that you was, and you should know that too.
Nobody can make sounds.
Gotta go Uncle Matt.
So what do you have to say, Olivia?
Wait, did TT Valerie say anything?
Nope.
No. What you got to say for yourself?
What about TT Valerie saying something?
She can't speak in front of everybody because her breath is kind of...
Ooh, and that's on here too. That's bogus.
I know you're not recording me.
No, I'm not. Hey, JJ. Hey, JJ. Say congratulations, big sister.
Here, take a picture of me with my baby.
Say congratulations.
Thank you.
Maya.
Hold on,
Take out 5 and tell Olivia, look at Olivia. Take out 5.
Okay, now, don't take no more because, well, I mean, we got to take them outside.
Thank you very much.
Wait, she didn't say nothing yet.
She don't need to say
This is her little cake.
We don't have enough time.
Oh, okay.
We're in a hurry. We caught the end of the whole thing.
Look, everything on
That's
her place
TT
went all the way south.
And this is Uncle Richard. And that's little Maya.
We go in the first grade.
What you doing? Uncle Matt. This is Uncle Matt. Say hello, Uncle Matt.
Very good.
Oh, see, she gonna watch it. Grandma, TT, the balloon, and Levy, the big girl.
Okay, now,
Now,
Olivia,
Levy.
what do you have to say for yourself?
Wait, stand up and speak.
Well, thank you for everybody.
You proud of yourself, Livy?
Yes.
Why?
Should be.
Did
Because
you-
it's my own graduation.
Right.
Everybody.
That's right.
Did you know you could do it?
Yes.
And you think you're smart
Yes.
and beautiful?
Yes.
Good.
And an athlete.
You like basketball?
Yes.
You gonna do it, right?
Yes.
You gonna play professional?
Yes.
I got it on tape.
Yes.
Tell her grades and sports
Graces
will pay for college.
and pay for college.
I got it on tape.
And science.
Just so we,
said great.
just so we're aware.
Military. What you
Just so,
talking about? No.
just so we're
They playing a little baby's life already.
Here you go.
She in the military. She playing basketball. She's a nuclear physicist.
Can we say,
that cake.
can we say,
When you take a picture, you cutting your cake.
man,
Is it green stuff on that cake?
it's green stuff on that cake.
Wait a minute, ain't she supposed to read everything in the house before she eat that cake?
No, because the sun is going down and we have to go take her pictures of her.
What's on the cake?
Olivia.
Hey, there you go.
That's her name, and she said
She
it.
said, look, I know what it say. It say Olivia. That's what
Oh,
it
there
say.
she go.
Girl!
Cutting her cake.
What's on the knife, right?
Oh, that's bogus.
You know why it's such a small cake?
Because we can only have small pieces.
Right. You know why
Very
we can
small
only have
pieces.
small pieces? Because we want to be healthy, right?
Because, look at this. Chunky monkeys.
That's right, because you
We
are
chunky
so
monkeys.
smart. 1, 2, 3,
wonder what that
4,
looks
5,
like.
6, 7. And the babies can eat off of somebody else's plate, right? So we can hurry up and go outside.
This is JJ. It's not his baby. We're going to get a picture of him. That's JJ. And look how he's just throwing me the shit. Look at that. I got it on tape. Say, hey, JJ. Why you trying to get a picture? Wait a minute.
Here you go.
Wait a minute.
Put
Wait.
your icing on.
Hey. Oh, that was all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to print me some pictures today. Beautiful babies.
Wow. I'm going to graduate.
It's kind of
It
bright in
says,
there.
can you read it?
Look at Jalen's face. He's having so much fun.
Graduation.
Oh yeah, this day, this day right here.
Right?
Yeah.
You see the word day? Right.
Okay. Turn it off.
You are now listening to nm3dots.com. Free download. Thank you for your support. You are now listening to nm3dots.com. Free download. Thank you for your support. This is not a secret, tight hold like no spiteful, lack of insightful, not no rival. So society, hold no eye, it's